Welcome to video lesson Inferences and Conclusions number 1. You should be here if you're ready to start a new lesson cycle. Let's take the notes. Introducing inferences and conclusions. When you make an inference, you read between the lines to understand an idea that is not directly stated in the passage. Again, you read between the lines, meaning read what's not written there, but based on what the author's saying, okay, to help you understand an idea that's not directly stated. When you draw a conclusion, you put together information to figure out something the author wants you to understand but does not state directly. So this is very similar to making an inference. You put together information, so whatever information that you find in your reading, to figure out something the author wants you to understand. Let's go ahead and write that in. But does not state directly. In fiction, you will often make inferences and draw conclusions about the characters in the story. Let's go ahead and write in characters. You can use these tips to make inferences and draw conclusions. The first tip, ask yourself, what does the author want me to understand? The second tip, combine what you learn from the passage with what you already know about the topic to figure out the author's meaning. Let's go ahead and put it. Combine what you learn from the passage with what you already know about the topic to figure out the author's meaning. Thinking about it. Read the paragraph below. Find clues in the text that help you make an inference or draw a conclusion. But with a llama in the family, the sheep have a fighting chance. Why? The llama takes its job seriously. When it sees the coyote, it will give the sheep a loud warning. It will cry out an alarm and stomp its hooves. It might even charge the coyote. Okay, so let's answer these questions to help us draw a conclusion about this little story. Number 1, what tells you that the llama is guarding the sheep? So the conclusion we made is that the llama is drawing the sheep, but let's see what it says. It doesn't directly tell us that the llama is guarding the sheep, but there are some things that we can look at that help us. So the first thing is that it says the sheep have a fighting chance. Okay, so with the llama in the family, the sheep have a fighting chance. So we know the only reason why the sheep have a fighting chance against, we later learn, the coyote, right? Coyotes like to eat sheep, is because of something that the llama does. So what does the llama do that helps? And it says the llama takes his job seriously. So the llama is doing a job, but we don't know what that is yet. Let's find out. When it sees the coyote, it will give the sheep a loud warning. Okay, so that gives the sheep a loud warning, right? So he warns the sheep that the coyotes are coming. It says it will cry out an alarm, so give an alarm, and stomp its hooves. It might even charge the coyote, meaning, chasing the coyote off. So, again, let's look at one. What tells you that the llama is guarding the sheep? Well, it has a job, right? Like a security guard. The sheep have a fighting chance with the llama there. And it gives the sheep a warning if it sees a coyote. And it does an alarm and stomps its hooves and will charge the coyote. So all of these things in this story tell us that the llama is guarding the sheep. So I'm going to say the biggest thing that lets me know is that the sheep have a fighting chance. So I'm going to write down fighting chance, right? They have a fighting chance, meaning they're not just out there alone. They have a guard, which is the llama. Number 2, why does the llama charge the coyote? Well, let's think about it. The author doesn't tell us why, but we can sort of infer or draw a conclusion about why, right? Because when we infer things, we read between the lines to understand. Oops, let me show you. We read between the lines to understand an idea that is not directly stated in the passage. So let's read between the lines and think about if we can't figure out why the llama would charge the coyote. Well, I think because it says the sheep have a fighting chance, the llama takes his job seriously, that the reason he might charge the coyote is to protect the sheep and scare him and scare away the coyote. Because ultimately, what does a coyote want to do to a sheep? He wants to eat it. So the llama wants to scare him away so that he can't do that, because it's his job, it says right here, to protect the sheep. All right, number 3. What can you infer about the relationship between coyotes and sheep? Okay, relationship. What does that mean? They're not dating. That's weird. Okay, well, relationship just means, what's going on between these two animals, right? Obviously, the sheep can't protect themselves, and the coyote wants to eat the sheep, right? So they need a guard, the llama. So the sheep can't protect themselves from the coyotes, and the coyotes want to come and eat the sheep. So the relationship between the coyotes and the sheep is not a good one, right? We can infer that the coyotes want to kill the sheep, and the sheep can't do anything against the coyotes. They don't have very good chance of fighting them off without the guard, the llama. So we're going to say coyotes want to eat the sheep, and the sheep cannot fight the coyote. Okay? So, make sure you have all those notes, and let's move on to using a strategy. Okay? The strategy that works well with making inferences and drawing conclusions is accessing prior knowledge. Okay? When you access prior knowledge, you use what you already know to help you understand what you read. All right? So I'm going to say what you already know. Just like when I read this passage, I already knew I had prior knowledge that coyotes eat sheep. The passage doesn't say that, but I already knew that. So I used that information to help me figure out the inferences that I needed to make and to draw conclusions about the llama protecting the sheep, right? All right, let's keep looking at this. Read the title and look at the picture to learn what the passage is all about. Let's go ahead and write in passage. What do you already know about the topic? As you read, you think about new ideas or topics that are introduced. What do you know about them? How does your knowledge help you understand the passage? Okay. Again, so a strategy to help you infer, make inferences, and draw conclusions is to use your prior knowledge to help you figure out what the passage is about. Let's go ahead and turn the page, and you see that we have a story that we're going to use what you learned on the notes page. This says, read the passage, use the notes on the side to help you, then answer the questions on the next page. Okay, so I'm going to look at my notes over here first so that I'll know what to do while I read. It says, access prior knowledge. Look at the title and the picture. Ask yourself if you already know something about the topic. So the title, Guarding the Herd, and I see that's a picture of a llama. So I've been to a petting zoo before and I've seen a llama, and that is exactly what a llama looks like. So I'm guessing guarding the herd and a picture of a llama. A herd is usually a group of animals. So I'm going to use my prior knowledge and assume from the passage we just read and the notes that this is going to be a story about a llama that is guarding or protecting a herd of sheep. The next note says, make inferences and draw conclusions. Pay attention to details that will help you figure out what the author wants you to learn from the passage. Okay, so looking at details is a big part of understanding, being able to make inferences and draw conclusions. So we want to watch out for those. And then it says, access prior knowledge. As you read, think about whether the information reminds you of something you know about or have experienced. Okay, so that's like making connections like we've been doing all year. So let's go ahead and read the story. Guarding the herd. A hungry coyote might be surprised to see a llama standing with a herd of sheep. Without the llama, the sheep may be easy prey. But with a llama in the family, the sheep have a fighting chance. Why? The llama takes its job seriously. When it sees the coyote, it will give the sheep a loud warning. It will cry out in alarm and stomp its hooves. It might even charge the coyote. Coyotes are a problem for ranchers. Some of them lose up to 26 sheep a year to coyotes and other predators. Ranchers have tried many ways to keep their sheep safe, but they are not always successful. Guard llamas are the solution for many ranchers. A llama lives with the herd, so it is always ready to sound an alarm, and most coyotes will run from a large animal that is charging toward them, running and kicking. Since ranchers started using llamas, many have reported losing only a few, if any, sheep a year. What makes a llama such a good sheep guard? Guarding comes naturally to llamas because they are herd animals. Their instinct is to protect the animals they spend time with. Move aside, guard dogs. Here come the guard llamas. Well, that's an interesting story. I had no idea that that's what farmers are using. Let's go ahead and turn the page and look at our example question and then answer the 4 questions about the story. So let's look at the example. It says, choose the correct answer. Use the steps at the right to help you answer the question. What can you conclude about guard llamas? A. Llamas are good guards. B. Llamas should guard predators. C. Llamas should not be used as guards. D. Llamas only guard well against coyotes. Let's look at a step-by-step way to find the answer. Number 1, combine details from the passage with what you already know. It says, I notice that the author says guard llamas are a solution. I know that a solution helps to fix a problem. Step 2, look for other details about the use of llamas as guards. I see that since ranchers started using llamas, they have lost fewer sheep. 3, use the information to draw a reasonable conclusion. I can conclude that llamas are good guards. So that tells me that our answer is A. Llamas are good guards. Let's go ahead and circle A now. All right, let's look at number 1. It says, now read each question, circle the letter of the best answer. Number 1, why are sheep easy prey? A. Coyotes are always hungry. B. Sheep spend most of their time alone. C. Llamas cannot protect sheep from coyotes, or D, sheep cannot protect themselves from coyotes. Okay, so I know that the story that coyotes do like to eat a lot, but I didn't hear the author talking anything about coyotes. This story is not about coyotes or any information about them, so I'm going to cross that off. Sheep spend most of their time alone. Well, we know that sheep are herd animals, and a herd is a group of sheep. So we can go ahead and cross that off. Okay, llamas cannot protect sheep from coyotes. Well, we read in the story the detail that llamas are good guards for sheep. So we know that C is not true. D says sheep cannot protect themselves from coyotes. We already made that inference when we practiced on page 1. So I know that the answer is D. Let's look at number 2. Why are ranchers who have llamas happy with them? Well, if we look at a detail from the story, we would see that it says, since ranchers started using llamas, many have reported losing only a few, if any, sheep a year. That lets me know that the answer is C. The ranchers lose fewer sheep to coyotes. Of course that would make them happy. Please do questions 3 and 4 on your own.